our first speaker. Over to you, Paulina.
Hi, thank you very much. I was coming to the conclusion that to explain the role of religion today, we really need to understand how and where and it was formed. And I think religion comes from the need of human beings to explain the world. So then I came to this idea that there is a similarity between religion and science because religion tries to explain things we cannot explain. And the origin of religion would have been people being really afraid of the eruption of the volcano and not understanding what it is, and just assigning a meaning to a god or a supernatural force. Whereas science is more based on things that can be repeated and explained, but we are still trying to explain things. Now, where religion differs from science is that I think over time it created a system, and a system to join the community is like a glue. So, culture and everything that we understand as humans in a social setting has been formed by religion in one way or another. Uh, where religion was and has been extremely useful is it creates communities. It actually is good for the creation of art. A lot of things have come that are extremely good out of religion. And in fact, religion also tries to explain the human condition and feelings that we all have, such as ethics and things that also bridge a little bit in philosophy. And so now that I have touched a little bit on that, I'm going to very shortly talk about a philosophy because I think is the love child of both religion and science. Because while philosophy doesn't do subscribes to most of the beliefs in religion, it's still trying to explain something, but it borrows a lot of the scientific approach, which is things that in some way can be proven or disproven or actually discussed. And it's the pure sickness of or seeking of knowledge. So, is religion uh, relevant today? And I'm not sure I can properly answer that question, but on a personal base, I believe that some of the things that came out of religion are extremely needed. So religion has acted like the glue for the community, and we still need to build community. Religion has been so intertwined with culture. We still need to build culture, and we need still to grow. Uh, Religion is also, unfortunately, responsible for a lot of stagnation and people's lack of, I shouldn't say lack of, but it's been used as a way to control people. So unfortunately, it has that problems which we probably don't need at this time. And so science has tried to dismantle that control. But religion also touches on an inner need of human beings to be spiritual. Now, spiritual is a completely different ballgame, which can exist independent of religion. So I believe, briefly talking about spirituality, I believe spirituality is the ability to connect to other people's and beings' pain, and also to connect to the value, intrinsic value that the universe itself brings to us. So when we are connected to all of that, I believe we are deeply spiritual. Now, do we need to be religious to be spiritual? Not necessarily. Does religion bring spirituality? A lot of the times it does, because through its history, it has also tried to explore how people feel inside. So maybe we need some aspects of religion today, connection and spirituality and culture building. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Paulina.
So, one of my points is that religion, unfortunately, has a lot of aspects about controlling a population. So one of the examples is when religion arrived into Rome, where the population basically saw the emperors as deities slash emperor. And so a lot of them had a lot of larger than life, literally, status. So one of the strategies that they had, because religion, Christianity started seeping in and seeping in not to the wealthy, but just to the slaves and to all the people. How are we going to control of these people? Well, they embrace the religion so that they can manipulate it. And so then they started instituting priests and people who can look after, eventually look after the wealth of the church. And at one point, priests used to be able to get married, but then they decided that let's make priests celibate, simply because the wealth will go to the children of the priests, not back to the church. So the the point for me is that even today is not that different in many of the religions, is definitely used as a weapon of control. And I'm sorry I use the word weapon, uh, without removing at the same time the value that religion has, because religion has a lot of wisdom in it. But it is the users of religion who tend to use it or to grab it to manipulate what's around. Even uh, many of the cultures, and I'm not going to name names, but how women are perceived, you can see throughout the history of some of the religions where women had a lot more freedom, and then they have less, and then they have more. And it has to do a lot with how the society wants to control its population. And so for me, repeatedly again, I said there's no too much value in religion, but the gifts of community, culture, and spirituality, more importantly for me, are extremely important to continue. Thank you. Yep. Just a short comeback to your beautiful description of why we need religion. Um, I definitely agree that religion is a tool and it can be used in a good and a bad way. I myself have been already in 3 different religions, and I know for sure that there is so much overlap. And I think for me, I think there needs to be a bit of a distinction. And most sacred writing, most original writing of religions have this core spiritual glue. So, because as human beings, what we are really after is spirituality, connection, the understanding of others. And by that, I mean not just humans, others as other living beings, plants, animals, the universe itself, in a way that feels deeply connected inside, not in a mental way, but in an emotional connection that goes beyond words. You want to feel as part of everything. And so religion, for the most part, has an incredible amount of tools and methods and systems that will help you do that. But when it goes problematic is when people who follow the religion a fall entrapped to somebody else's manipulation of those writings or those knowledge, that they are using these rules and regulations to get people to do what they want with the disguise of religions. And that's what I'm talking about. So I have no problem. In fact, I love when people are deeply religious. I myself try to get in deep knowledge of different texts from Hinduism. I was a Buddhist for some time. I've been a Baha'i. I was raised a Christian. Uh, and I have loved every moment. I savored every moment of that connection that those texts give you. But religion is so tied to culture and to what culture is doing at the moment. And unfortunately, sometimes the culture can have a bit of a, um, it makes you look at the way you look at things and the way you interpret. Like, in Christianity, there's a lot of acceptance of slavery, for instance. And that's the part that I have a problem with some religions, because they were written at the time where slaves were normal. And today, morally, we cannot accept slavery. Yet it's part of a religious text. So when we look at religion, we always have to look for the spiritual connection, which is definitely what we are all seeking. This is what you and Kirstyn are finding in common, is that common bond that is the spirituality part of it. Thank you. One thing that I forgot to mention, really positive about religion. I'm not all against religion, by the way, but I believe the laws that makes us a civil society throughout history heavily, heavily lean on religion, because religion explored that inner sense of connection, spirituality that makes us understand the pain of others. So without religion, I would say we wouldn't have laws that protect human beings. And so, in one way or another, I believe that a lot of the progress as betterment of society, although I don't like religion as a system of control, I also believe it is the root of a lot of the good things that we have. Of course, there's other things like philosophy and science that have contributed to all of that. But initially, this tribal view of a religion and everybody behaving in certain way that is not, do not kill, do not have, extramarital affairs, do not, in some cases, even health things, forbidden eating certain things that, as we understand later, it was because of hygienic or, fasting. We all know that fasting is very healthy for your body. So some of these really good things that people implemented without even understanding exactly the scientific side of it actually came through religion. So there are really good aspects as well from religion. Thank you. Just a quick thing about religion, and it's full of rituals. So rituals are not unique to religion. They are in AA, they are in many institutions. So I see a lot of value in ritual, because ritual, when done in a group, what it actually does to your brain and to the collective is like a reset button. We are all starting in sync, and we are moving in with a common intention to move on to a new chapter or to do something. So, separate from the religion aspect of it, I believe there's a lot of value in rituals, the new year. And it doesn't always have to be religion based, because, Christmas, yes, it originated in religion, but I believe that act, or Thanksgiving, that act of the ritual of family getting together makes us all go into the one common idea that we are a family, we love each other, we have memories to cherish, sometimes little things that were not resolved or whatever, but it helps us continue with life as one. So religion has that, it understood that from the very, very beginning of its conception. Rituals unite communities, and that's one of the most important aspects. Even today, even the rituals that we think are not important, I believe they are heavily unifying in a community. Thank you. Um, so I see humanity in stages of growth. Religion is part of that. So you see that definitely in the development of art. You have pyramids in Egypt, you have it in South America, You have discoveries that happen in one place and another, and they are more or less chronologically together because, like a human, a baby that develops, more or less they take the steps at the same time, they learn the language at the same time. So humanity goes through these stages. So I believe we have arrived at one stage where we are highly misinformed and highly analytical at the same time. So the misinformation that we are going through, I believe it's always been there. It's just that now we have the tools to expose it, and everybody's doing it everywhere. So where I'm going with that is that every time there's been a dark period in history, like the Dark Ages, there was a renaissance of ideas and technology and science and art. I have no idea what religion is going to come, and I'm hoping, like Tulip, that something will come. But I believe that we are all starting to feel sick and tired of not connection and misinformation and too much bombardment of information. We don't know where to discern. So, my only hope for the world is that we find a religion that helps us be truthful from within, deeply truthful and connected. And maybe, and I'm hoping it connects by gathering the wealth of information that is very common from every corner on the planet, from all religions. I think we just need something that is unifying. That's it. Thank you.